and welcome to OSINT, Fun with Open Source Intelligence, brought to you by Pentester Academy. My name is Jamal Bandakwala, and I will be your host through this fun, exciting course. Today, we're going to be doing Lab 3, where we will be gathering intelligence on a target organization. You will notice that this is similar to the stuff we did on mossfawn, and the recipe we did on gathering intelligence will be helpful here. Now, as I've said, uh, this will be a targeted exercise, so do make notes, and we will begin to have some fun soon. So just a few things about our target. Our target is Moses Singer. Moses Singer is one of the largest law firms around, fairly prominent. They show up in a few books. They do have quite the presence. So I'm going to go through a few slides and just to refresh your memory on the different things we can find, and then we'll start taking a look at them. Okay? So we can start by looking for Moses Singer using Google itself. This should get us their main page, LinkedIn, maybe a few Glassdoor reviews. I have found their name in a few books, which gives us an idea of the type of different places they're located, and also the types of law they specialize in. So, as I said, they do show up in a few. They're similar to our previous target of mossfawn. And as you can see, they do have a bit of an international presence. Now, we'll go back to all of this. Just want to give you an idea, and we'll start looking at all this stuff now. So, bear with me. Before we get into all this, though, I do want to show you the results of our first experiment. Melissa Brathorn, our fake analyst. So as you can see, she's managed to obtain 2 connections, and considering it's a completely fake profile and one that was done fairly quickly, I'd say that's pretty decent. Let's take a look and see what we've managed to get here. And it will load momentarily. So, as you'll see, Melissa was able to connect with a couple of people. And let's take a look. And she also joined numerous groups successfully. In this case, of course, we define success as connecting to at least one or more people who were in a similar line of work or at least in the same industry. Now, if we'd had more time and we would have been able to build up the profile more and also use it to get all kinds of things like job offers and such. But it we're going to reload this. Okay, so obviously this is taking a little longer than I'd like. And while this loads, we will take a look at here. So while this is loading, we will look at the other sites here. So we'll start by, since we are looking at Moses Singer, we can start with the Google search for mossinger.com. And that, of course, takes us to their main page, which tells us they are a New York City law firm, wide range of services, new media, banking, corporate, entertainment, estate planning. Lets you find attorneys, all that sort of thing. They've got an attorney index, which is useful because that gives us phone numbers, names. We can also find the name of a couple of really high profile people here. Gideon Rothschild, for instance, who is known for his work in high net worth and that sort of thing by the looks of it. And find names of others, including a few of their major well-known names. And you can find LinkedIn connections. Now, this is a place you'd be able to use your fake profile to try and connect with these people. So you get to see different people, find email addresses, which is useful, find potential LinkedIn connections. And if you keep going through this, you will also come across different other hits. One of them is a book where mossinger.com is listed, as you can see here. This is the Screenwriter's Resource Bible, and that connects, of course, with the type of law they practice. And you can come across at least one person, the email address, phone number, and that sort of thing, which tells you the type of law they practice and numbers and that sort of thing, which is useful. So here is another book, same sort of thing, and you can see the name Gideon Rothschild. He's one of the more prominent people we saw, and you can see he shows up in this book as well, which is called Where to Stash Your Cash Legally. This should give you an idea that this firm has some of these practices in some of the same areas as Mossfon, which has been in the news due to the whole Panama paper scandal. And we're just going to take another look at this. And unfortunately, LinkedIn seems to be misbehaving a little bit slower than I'd like. But let's take a look at who's viewed our profile. You can see we've had some rather interesting views of this profile. We've got someone from the US Department of Homeland Security. We've got some marketing person in Toronto. And we've got someone else from another defense type firm who's looking at us. And these are the two connections we've made here. One of them is a member of technical staff, InfoSec and audits, assessments at PayPal. The other is a senior Unix Linux engineer, information security at VMware. So, I consider this a success. We've got connections at two different organizations, both senior members of technical staff who are now part of our network for our ghost profile. So since we've seen this, we're going to close a couple of these just to reduce load here. Another thing I did find was Japanese-speaking attorneys at this law firm. And while you're looking for these searches, seems to be stuck here, but if you go through this and you keep going here, you will come across at least one hit for mossinger and Japan. And as you continue on there, it will take you to the Consul General of Japan in New York. And this gives you a list of law offices who have Japanese-speaking lawyers or connections to Japan. One of them, of course, happens to be someone at mossinger. And we can do a quick search this way. And here we can see. So we've got two people at mossinger who speak Japanese, are involved in assisting Japanese corporations with American issues, and we've got the email address for that line of business. We also have the telephone number for both these individuals and the areas of law they specialize in. If you look for at mossinger.star, so I'm just going to let the page load so you can see my specific search. Now, other things we've come across, if you keep going through that, is an MBA alumni list. And in this list, you will find another mossinger email address. And here you go. You can see from the class of 1985, Linda Abdelmalik, currently at mossinger. She's given her email address there. So that gives you a target, it gives you a name, it gives you an alumni connection, which makes your target attack or intelligence gathering thing much easier. We also find people at the Syracuse University Plan Giving site, and you can see that there are a number of law firms involved here, and our target is no different. You can see Lorianne Douglas from 405 Lexington Avenue, mossinger. She's involved here as well. Another target, another area, another person we can look at. And if you keep looking in these searches for at mossinger, you come across other hits, including information on including a Facebook page which links to an event that was organized by, I believe it's a women's legal organization. Here you go. The Finger Lakes Women's Bar Association, and mossinger was one of the major sponsors of this event, as you can see here. So that's one more thing you can find. You need to add this to your list of intelligence gathering stuff here, because this will give you other connections. This tells you what sorts of events this legal firm is involved in. So far, we found what sorts of events the firm's involved in. We found places where personnel at the school have gone, or personnel at the organization have gone to school. We have found, among other things, uh, different languages that people at this firm speak. And we've also found the different areas of law they practice and books, some of which are rather unusual and can be bothersome to some people that they are mentioned in, including things like the sovereign society and such. So this helps give you an idea of what this firm is like. You've also seen names of rather high-profile people there. And if you keep going along this line of searches here, you will also come across a couple more things, including the International Institute for Conflict Prevention Resolution, their banking committee, and you will see Moses Singer, or at least a person from Moses Singer, is sitting on this board and this committee as well. What's also useful here is you now know the names of all the other people who sit on this as well. So you can see Alan Kolod from Moses Singer happens to sit on this thing. But you now also know about all these other interesting people who sit here, including Louis DeLucia and Alfredo Donaldson. Now, you could use this to gather intelligence on all these people. Or you can use one of these people as a ghost, so to speak, to gather intelligence on this person. Remember what I mentioned earlier. If you could use this information to get into the circles of any of these people, and that gives you an in. If we keep searching, we also come across this highly interesting music litigation blog. And the reason I find this blog interesting is because this blog is actually run by someone at this organization, or who was or is in some way affiliated with Moses Singer. And we can take a look at this. And you can see that this gentleman, while no longer at Moses Singer, was involved here. In fact, this is really recent because he just left Moses Singer to found his own firm. And he had a blog about specifically litigation within the, or in the context of the music industry. So this should give you an idea of the type of people, and if you look further, it'll also give you an idea of the type of clients that Moses Singer and now this new legal firm have. And we've already seen the MBA alumni lists. We've seen the Sir Cruise thing. Another search you can try looking for is portal.mosessinger.com. And this is useful because it will give you an idea of the different types of technology that are being used here. Among other things, this should tell you there's an employee login for this page. It also helps you find different documents which you can actually grab to gather metadata. And this brings us to the CPR's Banking Committee page, which we just saw over here. Now, as you can see, this is rather useful because you will also see other people who are in some way affiliated with this organization. Now, something interesting I've noticed and I've seen is sometimes misspellings and the incorrect spelling of a word can give you all kinds of useful information. So if you're looking for mossinger.com and instead of password, powered recovery, it can also get you all kinds of things. Sure, we see the usual. We see all kinds of email addresses and such. We'll come across firms and blogs written by different people. And we will see all kinds of interesting things that way. But if you keep searching here, we also wind up coming to, and you've got to bear with me, we will find other things. More specifically, what I'm looking for right now is a page that come across earlier, which told us the religious affiliation of at least one person at this organization. So bear with me while I pull that off. And you remember I mentioned earlier that script can be a useful place to look as well. Well, here you go. You just found a script document that talks about this as well, or that has something mentioning these guys as well. This one is just a book released by someone that talks about tax havens, and it happens to mention mossinger as one of the organizations that can assist you in that. So now if you look for mossinger plus database, you do come across other interesting sites as well. Like I said, you find different blogs that happen to mention them or are run by people at them. And if you keep going through that, you will eventually come to the A1 hit database, which is something I suggest you take a look at, because this gives you an idea of different personnel and their movements. So if you look at this, you will notice that in 2016 5/4, David L. Glass left this organization. So did Brant S. This, Joshua Zakim, and we know Jessica K. Bontique joined this organization on this date. This person seemed to have a change in his position or some sort of update to their LinkedIn profile or similar, and so on and so forth. Like I said, this is useful. You can use this in collaboration with LinkedIn, but it gives you an idea of where different people at an organization have left or changes they've made to their LinkedIn and other social media profiles. So this gives you an idea that this person had some change, some committees they were part of. This person just added a bunch of things, including documents they were authors of, and so on. So useful information, you just need to know how to use it. Now you can sign up, but the free version works just as well. And it gives you an idea of the email addresses that were deleted and such. Other things you could do is you could check whether mossinger.com is vulnerable to different attacks. Now, keep in mind, we are doing this purely with open source intelligence. We are not trying to do things that are quote unquote secret or gathering information that way. So we're going to look at the drone attack, and we're going to look for mossinger.com, see if that is vulnerable or if it has any issues here. And the answer is yes. Yes, they are. In fact, you'll see it's got a couple of certificates. It tells you it supports SSL version 2 expert ciphers, and it is currently vulnerable, and it should be disabled. It even lets you view the certificate in question. But this is helpful because it tells us there's a problem with these certificates, and this firm should be fixing it. And it provides quite a bit of information in terms of that. Another thing you could do is use the SSL server test at Qualys SSL Labs, and it provides you with all kinds of information. The other nice thing about this is you don't actually have to give out too much information about yourself. You just look for the host name and you hit submit and let it generate stuff for you. So this tells us there is a certificate name mismatch. Yeah, we're going to ignore that and proceed with the tests. Let it carry on. And we will look back at it in a few minutes. We also find, if we look through, different emails, some of which really should not have been made public, but have somehow wound up in here. As you can take a look, it tells you something about this. Uh, it gives you an idea of different people at these organizations and their interests. Some of it's spam, some of it is interesting. It lets you get an idea of different people's interests there. So, our test results tell us there are all kinds of problems with this site. It's vulnerable to the Poodle attack. It suffers from weak encryption and weak signatures. So this tells us all kinds of things. If we were attackers, we could use this right away. We could also use this information as intelligence analysts in our report. So it tells us, for instance, that there's at least one certificate that has expired and has not been taken off. There are more than one for that matter. There are configuration issues which have not been cleaned up. And as you can see, it is vulnerable to different known attacks. If you are an organization, you kind of want to know this information before other people do, and would do well to use this both as the organization and for us as intelligence analysts, we can use this as well to find other problems. Now it appears a couple of my searches can no longer find things, unfortunately. The pages have either been redirected or moved around, which happens, unfortunately. So a couple more searches, a couple more things I want to show you. So we saw the list of lawyers in Japan. We already came across lists of people on the Conflict Institute Resolution. We found the music litigation blog. We found the MBA alumni list. We did see the Syracuse University Plan Giving Network. And we did look for portal.mossinger.com. We did see the employee login page. Now, for some reason, I wasn't able to come across this again. It's possible it got taken down. It's possible the results got lost. But most importantly, it tells you it's the congregation Beth Aron. I will show you why that is important. So, one last search here. And this is, I believe, what I was looking for. And I believe this is the one. So we're going to do a quick look. That is what I'm looking for. So as you can see in this one, we now know that Joshua Zachim at mossinger. We happen to know his faith group. We happen to know which specific denomination and which temple he belongs to. We can tell he's rather prominent in this. And this gives us valuable intelligence. This tells us, for instance, we know what days he's likely to be off or not checking things. So, it also gives us names of other people who are likely to know him. And as I've mentioned previously, just because we're looking at this does not mean our real target's not up here. But this provides us valuable information. When you put it with the other context, you can tell when this person will not be at work or when he might be taking time off, what days he may not be able to respond to you, and you can target your attacks accordingly. So I did want to show you that. And we did look at the A1 hit database, which showed us how people are moving, which is what I want you to see as well. And we also checked for the site against the drown attack and for other vulnerabilities, SSL-based vulnerabilities. And you can clearly see that this site is vulnerable to these. So they definitely do have a problem there. Now remember, in all these cases, the site is publicly available and public facing, and these are free tools we're using. We're not giving off identifiable information about ourselves. They tell us about expired certificates, uh, attacks this is vulnerable to, and it tells us it supports weaker certificates and protocols. And so as you can see, you can gather all kinds of information, and in this lab we followed that recipe, although we did make modifications. We found enough that we can find other targets. We know this law firm practices in some of the same areas as Mossfon, which got into a lot of trouble. We can tell what some of the interests some of these lawyers have. We can tell the religious affiliation of some of these people. We can also tell what languages they speak and what sorts of connections they have. By looking at all these things, it tells us all kinds of stuff. For instance, the lawyer who happens to be part of that congregation, we know what days are going to be important to him. We know what days he's likely to be taking off. Uh, we know other people in his social circle who we can connect to. The lawyer who runs that music blog, who has just recently started up his own firm, we now know that mossinger lost someone with that specialty. We know this guy knows quite a bit about that. If we go through his blog and we look at other things within Singer's area of practice, we'll also be able to find out who some of their clients are. That site that gave us lists of movements tell us who they've hired and who have either moved on or been let go. Now, these things by themselves, like I said, may not mean much, but when you put them in the context, for instance, going back to the lawyer who belongs to the congregation, you can now tell that this person will not be available on these days, or he donates to certain causes, which will give you an idea of his political affiliation and what's important to him. This is all valuable intelligence because you can take actions based on this. And that is all the time we have for now. I hope you had fun. Please make sure to use that recipe and alter it as needed. I did preload some of the sites just because it was running a bit slow. But make sure to save what you do. It's easier to find things that way. And that's all time we have for now. I will see you in the next video. Thank you.